Things you love when you're an INFP. Fantasy. Fantasy is escapist, and that is its glory. If a soldier is imprisoned by the enemy, don't we consider it his duty to escape? If we value the freedom of mind and soul, if we are partisans of liberty, then it's our plain duty to escape, and to take as many people with us as we can. Imagination is the foundational layer that underpins and bolsters art, music, writing, and all creative endeavours. It's the tendency of the mind to wander into places far removed from a person's current reality. Or perhaps it's more accurate to say, transporting yourself into a different reality. One that is in no way diminished by the inability of others to see and experience it. Our thoughts and emotions, which in themselves can be hard to separate at times, affect us physiologically. An imagined argument with someone in our minds can anger us. A joke or one-liner said by us in some fictional conversation can make us laugh, which looks extremely weird to onlookers. In this sense, the distinction between imagination and reality breaks down and blurs. If you are deeply moved by a storyline that is, at least initially, housed within the confines of your own mind, it's real to you, or at least its effects are real. If you then took that and turned it into something that other people could consume and enjoy, making it a world that others could be lost in, then suddenly it becomes a part of other people's reality as well. In that sense, fantasy is just reality in waiting. Fantasy is fundamentally healthy. It offers refuge and respite, just like a dream, a way to process our past and simulate potential futures. As another famous quote goes, "No live organism can continue for long to exist sanely under conditions of absolute reality." INFPs are certainly one of the best exponents of fantasy and imagination. Pressureless environments and lifestyles. When the machine grinds to a halt, the cogs themselves begin to wonder about their function. Everyone has to deal with responsibility, obligation, and high-pressure situations in life. It's a given. And more than that, it's a positive thing, a necessary thing. But there are other types of pressure. Maybe ones that come from the expectation of family and peers, from the contentious or combative aspects of a relationship, or maybe from some intrusive person you live with. There are many examples. Things that both weigh on your mind and weigh you down. These external factors that exert pressure and force you to do things are unpleasant to us all, but I think they negatively affect INFPs even more so. Whenever they can reach a situation in life where they're free from those things, it's deeply desirable. In fact, I think that's where the stereotype of them wanting to go off the grid comes from. That impulse to escape the trappings and stresses of modern day life. It's very important to note that INFPs are not people who shy away from pressure. Quite the opposite, in fact. But there are certain kinds of things, perhaps things you could describe as the soul-destroying aspects of life, that greatly diminish their fire. Certain personality types, INFPs especially, might come across as slow-moving and ponderous people to others, seemingly existing outside the conventional sense of time, moving at their own speed and pace. When they're able to do this, they're at their best. Being forced, rushed, and pressured will make them feel alien and thrown off most of the time. Modern day life can often feel like you're being kicked from pillar to post, without there being much time to stop, reflect, and introspect. The latter of which is one of the things that INFPs are exceptional at, going inwards to find answers and insight. So out of all of the types, I think that INFPs are the most put off by force being exerted upon them. They'll almost never be at their best under such circumstances. Just to offer a contrast, certain other types will love being thrown into environments that are ultra fast paced, where you have to act, and failing to act quickly has consequences, where you're constantly in competitive situations. Some types would even rather be around people that they had confrontational relationships with, just because it's more interesting and stimulating to them. INFPs are at the complete opposite end of the spectrum. Perhaps the type that least likes ultra-competitive and confrontational environments. Ones where people are pitted against each other. I've described them before as explorative types, exhibiting a wanderlust both in the physical and ideational realm. So their ideal is to be free from any unnecessary shackles, so they can take flight and explore when needed. After all, birds can carry things just fine, just not when their wings are clipped. If they have to fight for something that they believe in, or someone they believe in, then that is a fight and battle they will very much be up for. It's an occasion they will rise to. It's more the pressures that grind you down in life that they would rather be without. Fairness and equality, but a specific kind. Equality is treating everyone the same, but equity is taking differences into account, so everyone has a chance to succeed. I think the INFP conception of fairness is very different to standardization. Standardization doesn't have to, but often in practice, does come at the expense of people's individual differences. People have to contort themselves into some monolithic conception of what is a successful or desirable person, and anything that deviates from that is failure. That's completely antithetical to what most INFPs believe in and stand for. A fair system accounts for people's differences, abilities, and circumstances. To them, the system should bend to individuals, and not the other way around. I have a fantasy world where every INFP who watches also subscribes to the channel, then joins the Discord server to chat with me. Feel free to help me make that a reality.